And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are on the live webinar, we can call it, on Facebook about the investing in property. My name is Greg Futima, and here with me is Piotr Zawali, who is wealth consultant, who is very well experienced in investing in properties. So he's going to be our speaker today, and he's going to present one of his recent property investment that generated over 83,000 pounds in profit. And as far as I know, that was over 12 months period. If you find it interesting, click like now and share this live so more people can see it. Maybe you want your friends to see it, maybe you want other investors to see it, so share this event. But in the meantime, hello, Piotr.
Hi, Greg. Hello, everyone.
Why don't you introduce yourself in 1 minute or so while I share our video on Facebook so more people can see it?
Sure, no problem. So, hello, everyone. My name is Piotr Zawali. I'm a property investor. I'm a property consultant. I used to own letting agency for 8 years and a few other businesses. Now I do solely consulting for fleet investors, and it's solely in whole area. Thank you.
Okay. Nice. If you are hearing as well, if you can let us know in the comments. I'm having a problem with the symbols here. Just sharing this so all my friends can see it, and you can do it as well if you're watching us and you want your friends to see this live on Facebook. So investing in properties, how hard can it be for someone who already has some cash to spend, for someone who knows that this is the way to go to protect your future or just to make more money for now? How hard can it be? You can also comment and ask questions to Piotr. We're going to be here for the next 60 minutes or so. Show some details, show some numbers, show the investment, and you can ask the questions as we go. Right, are we ready, Piotr, to present the investment of that property that made a profit of 83,000? Are you ready?
Sure, yeah.
Fantastic. So let me start from showing you a video which is going to present exactly that property. And by the way, before we show that video, Piotr, what year was it?
That was in year 2013, and we sold it in 2014. We bought it in 2013 in about May time, and we sold it mid-April the following year.
So it's even less than a year that you managed to sell it. It's very interesting that you made so much profit on it. And before we show the video, also another question. Who was an investor? And I mean, was that a company? Was that few people in a joint venture, or was it just you?
No, we formed a partnership on JV basis between me and 3 other investors.
Okay, so that was joint venture. The details will be revealed very soon, but for now, I'm inviting you to watch the video and enjoy and see how this investment looked like before and after. here we are back now, and I would like to invite Piotr now to say a few words about this property. Piotr, we have seen some shots of this property on that video, and the original state of it looked quite, scary for some people, for sure. Can you tell us a little bit about that property? Why have you decided to invest into something like this?
Right, the house was in complete derelict state, especially the back of it, the extension, and what we can call conservatory. And well, the reason why we decided to go for it is just our experience in the area and the purchase price that we managed to negotiate. We bought it for 75k. As it was, the current MV was about 120. So we knew even if we want to buy it and sell it on the next day, we're going to make some money there. And we could see an enormous potential to actually try to achieve something new, like quality that we always wanted to achieve during our projects. That property had a phenomenal potential, and luckily we've managed to extract at least some part of it.
I'm curious, how do you notice a potential in a property? You enter the property, you see probably some space, you see, what the state of the property is, and very often this is very, very appealing in one way or the other. But how do you notice, oh, here is the potential, here is when I can make some money on it?
Well, with me, it all comes from experience, from mathematics, doing your calculations right away, knowledge of the local market. But foremostly nowadays, it is just that feel. You've got it. If you're experienced, if you're doing something for 10 years, it's a quick yes or no. If you go to specialist mechanic with your car, he's going to tell you in 5 minutes by listening to your engine what the hell is wrong with it. And, I was working hard to get to this stage, and here I am just using my knowledge.
Okay. So what you're telling us is really the experience and knowledge is the basic thing that we need to have to be able to assess the property in a way you just did, and make sure that we can make profit on it in the future. So
it is essential, Greg. I completely agree with you. It's essential. If you actually going through any of these trainings, when someone tells you that investing in property it's dead easy, just browse on the internet, see how many differences in legislations were implemented, especially when it comes to HMOs. Read the stories of some investors going through such a crappy schemes where they were giving money to someone with empty promises of making huge profit. No, it's like when it comes to money, it's serious. And if you are naive enough to give someone your money, thinking that you're gonna get a big lump back without doing anything, I would really recommend you to go to a psychiatrist first and make sure your shrink will give you good pills.
Okay, so let's go back to the property itself. And I know we have seen this video a few minutes ago, but I would like to play that video again, but this time I would like to stop every time we've got a new shot so we can explain to us and we can see in detail, what the property was like before and what have you done to it, how much work was it, and before we then go into some details of how the plan looked like and then the numbers, because that's, I guess, is what most investors are interested in, is the numbers. You know, how much money am I going to put into it, and how much am I going to make in the process? So why don't we stop here? And this is the first shot of the front facade. Can you tell us a bit more about, you know, that? And we're going to move along as you speak.
Sure. So the front of the house was quite challenging. You've got old Victorian wooden bay window in the front, and this building and the building next to it, to your right, as you're just looking on that shot, there were the two eldest buildings on this road, and you could see it by the state of the wood. So it needed proper refurbishment, conditioning. That was done by specialists. Plus, we also replaced windows from wooden single glaze to double UPVC. You also got new front door was changed to a composite door. And obviously things like pointing and painting all of the woodwork with proper paint, doing right works on the fencing, etc., clearing that area. Mm-hmm. That was what we've done here.
And what is your experience in approaching the property like this? You're standing on the front of the property with your potential investor, and they look at the property and say, you know what, the state of this property is terrible, and I'm doubting, you know, or the investor potentially can be scared of, you know, putting the money into it, because the cost of the refurbishment of such a building can be quite substantial. So how do you speak to investor and, you know, so he is assured that even the state of the property is quite bad, they will still make money on it?
Well, first of all, you have to know how to survey property and what to look at. And basics are, whenever you've got any leak, water is the biggest killer of any property, especially when it comes to a traditional brick and mortar. Water is an absolute killer. Forget about fire, anything else, dampness, it's nothing when it comes to water. So you have to make sure it is at least secured in some sufficient way from this type of any damages. So this is the you know, all of these deficiencies in relation to water leakage. I would recommend to look for them. You know, things like roof, chimney stack, gutters, fascias, pointing, any glaze, manholes, any drainage, any problems with rising dam. You have to know how to identify those. Especially, you have to know how to actually spot these sections that were in very smart way covered to make sure you'll never notice them as an investor. So don't forget, when someone sells things, sometimes they don't really play open cards with you. They just want to make money. And sadly, that's the case. So you have to know how to spot all of these sections which were just polished up, if you like, as we talk now between two poles. So when you know, we are both poles, so we know which areas that were polished. Absolutely, we've got in our genes. So this is the main thing. The other thing is any subsidence, any underpinning, any you know, trees removed, things like that. That could cause potentially problem to insure the house, and when you've got problem with insurance, straight away you've got problem with buying property. So you have to make sure that these things, and obviously ordinary things, like you can hear that on each single training, as famous Japanese knockwit and other obvious things. But the best thing to do, if you know shit about investing, is just to get some risk surveyor. And I think for about 500 quid anywhere in this country, they should be able to make like an essential survey. They've got 3 different types of surveys. I think if you're getting this home buyer survey, it's anything between 300 to 500 plus VAT. So when you've got that, you've got grading from 1 2 to 3. Whenever you've got too many threes in red, just forget about it, unless you are experienced builder.
Okay, thanks for that. And just we're going to go to the next slide, which is like the same facade after the refurbishment. But before I ask you questions about that, I see some people watching us live right now, so it would be nice to see your name. So if you can like this video, I will make sure that I mention your name and say hi. And the other thing is that if you have any questions at this stage or would like to ask any questions to Piotr or ask about investing in general, please feel free to just comment below this video and we'll be addressing your questions very shortly. Okay, Piotr, so this is exactly the same house after the refurbishment, and I need to say it looks amazing comparing to what we just seen before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So was that a lot of work?
That was a good guy who was making the video. No, obviously that was a hell lot of work, hell lot of stress, controlling, overseeing, making sure the builders are actually up to date with the plans. To be fair, I only had maybe 5 refurbishments, deep refurb in my life, when guys they were up to date with the schedule. That's the thing with the builders; they are complete prima donnas, and they're chasing for new projects. Whenever they are in a position to start your project with money from you, then it's in your interest to keep eye on them, like on your children, because then they're gonna go around and seek for next few jobs. That's the way they are, and usually you'll be last in the row because they've got your money. So first of all, solid, good, and local builders, and local is the word really. So you can check them with other landlords. You can get some references and proper agreement. It's only like 1-page agreement when you've got, all of the penalties in place when they delay things. Obviously, you can also make them a bit more interested if you put some percentage on top of original price, subject to finishing the refurb earlier. And if there's any way you can help them out with getting materials or dealing with local authorities, whenever it comes to such a big project, you have to deal with several different local authorities and make sure whatever you do over there fulfills their criteria. So refurb, it's the key thing. It's like, I think it's a basic stage if you want to flip.
Sounds like really what you're saying is, I mean, the things you were saying really show me, you've got that experience of like knowing this little tricks that you can, not tricks, but the things that you can do to protect yourself against the potential loss or the problems. And at the same time, that thing is working for both of the sides. When you're talking about builders, when you've got agreement with them in place to reward them for finishing the job earlier, that obviously motivates them to do it properly and do it quicker, do it faster. And that obviously makes sense for both of you, right? So there are little things that you can do to protect yourself and make sure that the investment goes on the schedule, in the schedule. I just want to invite Joanna, who liked our video, and Ed. Hi, Ed. And if you guys have any questions, please comment below. But so far, I'm very happy to have you here on our live call and watching. So let's move to the next stages, or next slide, shall I say? Let's see what we can see here, Piotr. What is this?
This is the ground floor front room. This is not actually the original state of it. As you can see on the right hand side, you already got some new plasterboards over there, and generally speaking, there's not too much you can see here. We obviously remove the old carpets, we remove all of that crap that was in that area. So it's not like the the very beginning stage. This is the shot after 2 weeks job.
Okay, I've got a comment from Łukasz, who just joined us. Says you are too quiet with your mic. I'm not sure what I can do with this, Łukasz. I can only.
Right, just a sec.
Can only.
Is it better now, Łukasz?
I think it's a little bit better, Piotr. I think I can hear it now.
Okay.
A bit better.
All right. Thank you, Łukasz.
Yeah, so I want to invite Łukasz also to say hi to Łukasz and Tomasz. Thanks for joining us and liking this video. And if you can, by the way, share it so more people can see it, that'll be great. So this is the ground floor. As you can say, as you just said, is work in progress. We can see the new plasterboard. Let's see what it looked like afterwards. Is this the same room?
Yeah.
Great. It really looks good, doesn't it? It's.
I mean, all of these small details, they make change. Candles, and lighting, and curtains.
Very good. So
it's not fully furnished yet. We always put like a set of furniture per bedroom for our HMO tenants. So here we've got only desk and some beds. So it's not even fully furnished yet. But yeah.
Hence, no one is asking the questions in the comments. I asked a question about it myself. Is it easy to rent a room like this?
Oh, well, define easy in your sentence. Listen, I used to do it for 8 years. I used to manage properties for myself and landlords. I used to do rent to rent. So I know exactly where should I call to get the right person. But if you're thinking that finding tenants as an unexperienced landlord for HMO property, it's an easy process. It always reminds me my first few years when it was madness. You thought this is the most decent person, and giving the keys to that person doesn't involve any risk. All of a sudden, you had several nights with no sleep, just running around trying to calm down that idiot. But yeah, it comes with experience, with proper procedure in place, how to qualify that person as a potential tenant. So, ordinary things like credit checks, etc., are worth shit. You just have to make several phone calls. You have to ring the manager at work or whoever they're working for. You have to get some verbal references, and if you're good in sniffing, some crappy stories, then you know that this is the right person. And to be fair, the biggest problems I usually had with people that were looking like that they were spot on, no problems. You couldn't find anything wrong with the paperwork, with the bank statements. Usually those that were bringing me biggest headache. So if something shines too much, make sure you open it and just sniff what's inside. If it's shit, then just throw it away.
Okay. At this point, I would just like to warn everyone who's joined us watching live, with the children in the background, just make sure you remove them from the room, because Piotr is really talking straight and I guess very often cursing on our live webinars. So just make sure you have no children around if you want to avoid them, listening to this.
So
Um,
it's always very emotional when I'm thinking about all of these refurbs, and pain in the back you have to go through with builders. So I'll watch myself for next few moments. So don't worry, guys.
try to try to make it, more gentle for everyone and polite. So
Yeah.
that'll be great. God knows who watches us. I know that Michał Zwierz joined us. Hi, Michał. Very nice to see you here, and thanks for the heart. Means I guess you love this video. That's very good. So let's move a little bit with this video, and let's make it a bit faster so we can see more details in the builder's plan, whatever they're called, and then some finances. So what is this? What is this place? Is that the kitchen, right?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. I'm asking because I'm not so sure. You know? Like, it looks like a shed, really. So
Yeah.
let's see what's been done to the kitchen. So that was the original state, and is this the same room, right?
Yeah, that was
Yes.
like originally that was like kitchen storage. They were keeping anything in that area, and so we had to clear that out, especially because that was blocking emergency exit for my builders. You know, whenever you're actually dealing with builders, you have to make sure that your project fulfills health and safety regs. So we just had to clear that off, and the amount of odd things we found over there, you wouldn't believe. So that was the most challenging thing, to find someone brave enough to deal with all of these items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's hard, isn't it? Because most of these items, like the stove or the other devices, are attached sometimes to the wall or connected with the
No,
other
no,
ones.
no. I'm talking about very unique, eccentric things we found over there that I'm just gonna keep for myself. With the promise I've made a few moments ago, I'm not going
Ah,
to
okay, okay,
get
okay.
into any detail.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move forward. And what is this place?
This is the back of the house. In old days, this is where long time ago, this is where people they used to have they lose their toilets, and they were never linked to the main house. As you can see, over 120-ish years, they haven't changed too much here. You can even see the original brickwork from those days. So yeah, that was just falling down. So we obviously started from the scratch. We removed whatever you can see on your left-hand side. We removed all of that. We only kept the walls on the right-hand side because obviously they were attached to the building next door, so we couldn't really do anything about it.
And because of that, did you have already plans for that? How to use this place?
Yeah, we decided to make a conservatory here, like a living area, a communal area, knowing that we want to achieve 7 rooms in the house. You have to go through the regs, space standards, room and space standards in HMO houses. Make sure they have got sufficient, space to facilitate that number of tenants that you are projecting to achieve.
So what was the projection again in terms of numbers of tenants?
Seven persons, 7 rooms.
Seven
And
rooms.
the easiest way to deal with that is just to invite local authorities, HMO department, planning department, BC department, if you go into building control regs. If you play open cards with them, they are never harsh with you. Problem starts when you are not in touch with them from day one. Because these people, they really like to be appreciated. For God's sake, they are usually on very low payment, doing very boring job. So give them opportunity to feel special for a second. Ring them and listen to them, because sometimes you can actually learn things for free from these guys.
Instead of being scared of them and just rejecting them straight away, it's actually worth it.
I would never do so. If you're playing with, open cards with them, and if they can see you want to do it to the right standard, believe me, they will never They'll never cause you any troubles.
Yeah.
They're gonna help you out.
Thanks for that tip. We're going to move to the next slide to see how this looked like afterwards. But before I do that, I just read the comment from Monica, who's watching us. She said she also invested HMO, and just a little comment from her. Personally, she says, I would avoid candles as decoration for H&S reasons. Burning candles is not allowed in our rooms, and this could encourage tenants to do that. I think Monica is referring to the video over here when we've got the candles. Interesting comment, of course, and you're probably right, Monica. It's showing tenants that, you know, but a bit this video, I guess, it wasn't really to show tenants.
No. As I made a comment, I think Monica should just join us like a second ago, because obviously this is for commercial purposes. This video is not for tenants. And candlelight, if you're gonna read about Monica, candlelight makes a very nice effect when it comes to videos. So this is why most of the professional video producers, they use some candles, especially on big areas, just to make it a bit more interesting, the view. So this is the sole reason why we've got candles over there.
Yeah.
You should never provide things like candles, etc., to your tenants, but from HSS point of view, there's nothing wrong with candles. Tenants, they can use candles. So I would really refer you to HSS Act to have a good read, because it seems like someone told you something wrong.
You know, I've never heard of candles being banned in a house, but I understand what Monica is saying. You know, it's on the video is, you know, maybe perhaps is not a good idea for the tenants to show that they can burn, especially when I heard the story. I think you've said was it in this house when there was the fireplace somewhere in the backyard or in the back room? No, that was the other one.
12 roasting.
Okay. We show it next time.
Yeah. Why not?
By the way, speaking of details,
we're gonna show Monica how does using candles finish. Yeah, how does it end up?
Speaking of details, I'm just looking at this shot, and I'm very curious what this bit on that stove is, and reminds me. The shape reminds me of one of those. It's funny, but
it's definitely, yeah. It's for iPhone 10. It's the size of phone corresponds to the size of AirPods.
Right, interesting. Yeah. Okay, anyways, so let's move forward and let's see. So is this the same place?
It is indeed. Obviously,
it doesn't look like it.
Called the same place because originally that was like half of it. We extended it, obviously with BC approval. We've made the right brickwork up to 110 centimeters, which is the minimum required in order to not to use safety glass. And the problem here was something that you can't see on this shot, which was the fact that manhole was actually located in the center of that area. So we had to find a way to gain access to it. And you know how it is with these old properties, drainage that is coming from your house to the main drain system, it's not presented at any plans. It's very new thing nowadays that things like that they shown. But in old days, it's a mystery. It's seeking for something unique, that pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. And so we had to actually get a guy with a digger to find out where exactly it was located. And obviously it was very, very challenging.
Sounds like a challenge, but it seems like you work around it, and good for you. So that's that place. And what is this room?
Right. Here, the original owner, they found a very economical way of not replacing windows, which is using a plywood. And this is the first floor front. As you can see by the shape of a window, it's the same side as room one that you just seen previously. Yeah, very spacious old Victorian house, all rooms enormously big. So you had lots of options. What's the way to carry on with the project?
Awesome. So let's now see what have you done to this room. And this looks totally different now, right?
Yeah.
So again, we've got a candle again, Monica, but
Yeah, I'm sorry, Monica. It's gonna burn that house. You won't be able to buy it of me because it's in fire.
is it still standing, Piotr?
It's still standing, but it's covered with flames.
Yes, for sure. So we've got this room here, and that's the other side. So you managed to put kind of a wall wardrobe in here, yes?
Yeah.
Nice.
We just put these building wardrobes with, mirrors. They're always making very nice effect.
Yeah, make it bigger, make it look bigger.
Yeah.
And now we move into something which looks like a toilet.
They will use that as a toilet. You can see on the back that you've got already some works done
Yes.
on that wall.
Yeah.
Hiding all of the drain pipes, etc. Because we moved the salt pipe and the drain system. We just located it as it should be in between the the main building and the extension. This is where salt pipe should go. It's all about the right angles and to make sure it's not gonna get blocked easily. So yeah, that was another challenging bit.
Okay, and is this the same place again?
It is indeed, and
Gosh.
here, I have to admit, these self-contained units, shower units, they weren't the best idea because, as you can see, you've got lots of different features there. All of these add-ons, they are always misused by tenants. Even with a cleaner each single week, sooner or later you're gonna find out that it's better to have something simple there instead of fancy things like that.
Mm-hmm. So you're admitting a mistake here of putting such a
Yeah.
interesting shower cabin into a tenant's a tenanted house where it just doesn't work. It's just causing problems, I guess, for
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
for the owner.
I am actually in favor of easy solutions, especially with this experience. I prefer to use something simple.
Good. So that's it. I think we have talked enough about the video and about the place itself. Now let's have a look at some plans very quickly before we do check the numbers. And I'm just going to open this document here. I'm actually decided, Piotr, I'm going to open on my desktop rather than, because we still want to see your face and my face, and I can potentially, yes.
Have you asked anyone for it?
No, I haven't. So let us know in the comments if you have enough of looking at us. I would just do it full screen for you. Okay, so
we're gonna put a face of Theresa May crying for votes.
oh dear, now we go into politics, which I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah, it's gonna end up, it's going to end up in about 3 hours.
Right, more.
That chat.
Oh right, yes, our chat. Okay, so let's look at the plans. I'm not sure whether everybody's seeing that clearly. If not, please let me know. But this is the plan of that property. We've got a ground floor, first floor, and second floor. And I need to admit, I'm not a builder. I can barely read those things. But of course, Piotr is the expert here, and I would like to ask you to maybe, tell
I'm not
us.
the builder neither, but as you
No.
can see, on these plans, it clearly shows that it's nothing in accordance with building standards, with building control regs. So, usually architects, they indicate that, but not by not putting the end walls, external walls, in any type of color. If it's just plain white, it means it's very simple, very basic. So nothing has been done in relation to a proper thermal or acoustic insulation as required in HRSRS and Housing Act 2006. So we just had to go through all of that together. We decided to use 2 reception rooms on the ground floor as bedrooms, considering the size of kitchen and what used to be a utility room. Then on the end of the project, it was actually communal area, a living area, and we also decided to put so-called Jack and Jills in between room 1 to 3, 4, 7, 6. Only the room 5, I believe, hasn't got it. As you can see on these plans, we are planning to end up with 8 beds, and we eventually decided to, limit it to 7. And the reason of that was planning department. We had spacious garden on the back that was used as a car park. And guys from planning department, for some reason, they only asking for car park spaces. There's nothing else they interested so much. And they decided that space over there can easily facilitate 7 cars, and this is why we just had to limit to 7 rooms.
Mm-hmm. Well, that seems obvious to me, and I'm sure to you as well, that they ask about the carping spaces for the HMO use. As there's a one property. If there was a family, the 2 cars would be like 1 or 2 cars would be a max for one family. People don't usually have 3 cars per family, but when it's HMO and there's 7 rooms, it's very probable that each of the user of each room has their own car. So there we got the problem when there's no car park spaces and people trying to park at the front of their house, and they probably occupy the spaces of the neighbors or something like that. So
I can agree with you to some extent. I mean, basically, if you are HMO tenant and if you pay in average £75 per room, how the hell can you afford to have a car?
Well, that's the one thing, and the other thing is you don't really usually expect to have a car park space allocated to your room, right?
Yeah, it's like a hotel standard, but
Yep.
yeah, we went through that, obviously compromising in respect to number of bedrooms. Well, we still managed to convince them that 7 is the right thing, because obviously they wanted to limit us to 6, knowing that rule. If you go above 6, then it's subject to getting consent from the neighbors, which we've managed to achieve, but somehow it wasn't convincing enough for council to actually go for 8. So they said 6, we said 8, and we managed to meet in the middle.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, right? So it's almost like a negotiation with the other business.
Well, it is in a way.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So this is the plan before, and this is what it looked like before you started working on it. And now we've got the plan after, which looks like this. And the first thing that I noticed straight away is that conservatory that you have managed to build over here at the back. From my very, honestly, I don't know much about that, but looking at the bedrooms, there is a second floor which had 3 bedrooms, 6, 7, and 8, and now there is only 6 and 7. So here was a change in terms of the number of rooms. Was there any reason you went for that change on the second floor?
As I said previously, that was subject to our negotiations, as you call it, with the council.
Yes, yes, but I'm asking, why second floor? Why you didn't do such a change, for example, on the ground floor and just make it one room there, or was it just in terms of like how spacious the rooms were, or were there any other?
It didn't make sense to make 3 rooms on the top floor, because don't forget, people, they usually fancy, like rooms on ground floor, first floor, for many reasons, shopping or anything else.
Yes, so it makes sense to have less rooms upstairs than downstairs.
It's it's just a layout of property. It's common sense. What's the point of having 3 rooms upstairs, and having one spacious downstairs? It's like waste of space. It's like, making 1 bedroom on the ground floor, which is the size of typical 2-bedroom house in London.
It's true. Okay, so we looked at the plans, and now is the time. We've got a final 10 minutes or so before we finish. Would like to go with you through the numbers, and this is what people usually the investors like to see, because we already said that the profit, the pure profit on that property within 12 months got onto 83,000, over 83,000 that was made on that property, pure profit, right? Now we would like to show everyone how was that achieved, where did the cash go, what was costing what was the source of finance, and so on. So can you walk us through this slide and tell us more about the numbers then?
Okay, so we got the house for 75k with LTV of 80% through Lloyd's Commercial. So our deposit to purchase the property was 15k. Our own savings between 4 parties in partnership. Refurb was estimated to 45, and it was made within this budget. Obviously, no purchase fees around, thanks to the fact that local chief exec of Northern Region for Lloyd's Commercial and one of the partners, they were drinking whiskey together. Survey, 200 quid. Obviously, this is, if you are property consultant, experienced property consultant, obviously you're getting discounts. For new investor, probably I would say 400, 500. Legals, 1k. Total 61,200. 61,200 pounds. We've managed to get 7 rooms in total, so you've got a price per room as it was originally. And that's something I'm always looking at. Here in Hull area, if it's more than 25k per room, doesn't make any sense. Doesn't matter whether it's HU1, city centre, or whatever. Doesn't make any sense above that figure. Average monthly per room, 347, gives you a monthly total rent gross almost 2,500. No management fee, because I was managing it using my former letting AG. Bills that were around 375 per month. Typical insurance on a big HMO, 20 quid per month. Maintenance and voids, we put that all together into maintenance on 75 a month. This is very pessimistic. This is very pessimistic scenario, and we got that finance on 5.5% with Lloyd's Commercial. Installment was 275 per month, so monthly net was almost 2,000. So I was really enjoying that project. Less than 20% occupancy to break even. That was giving me lots of comfort. Annual net profits 23.5k, gross yield 24, net yield 20, almost 20. And in order to get all of the money back that we invested originally, well, in theory, it would take us less than 2.5 years, as you can see in this annual return on capital investment. So that level of ROI, it's really good. We sold it to investor from West Midlands, a guy that bought that property. His intention was just to keep his son and his friends for one academical year, and then he actually gave this property back to us for management. He was an extremely experienced investor, also owner of letting AG. So as you can see, experienced people actually like to buy things that are generating money from day one. So if someone thinks that guys with loads of money, they also flipping properties in the area that they are not actually living in, then I have to actually tell you that you're wrong. Most of experienced investors, they only flip properties within their area, and they buy in ready product whenever it comes to making purchases outside of the area. This is like if you're talking to experienced investor with 10-year plus experience, this is the main rule. Don't buy anything for flip or for management if it's more than 45 minutes driving distance from your house. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything here. Oh yeah, sorry, we sold it for 205k. So the pure sale gave us over 83k. Obviously, we didn't put into consideration here the costs of the lawyer when we sold the house, which was about 700 quid. But we also haven't taken into consideration all of these rents that we were collecting over a year. So really, we've made much more over 100k when it comes to combining the rental income and the income from flipping.
Okay, so it's before I start commenting myself, I would like to encourage everyone watching to ask your questions now in the comments if there is anything unclear about the numbers, or you have any particular questions about that, because that's quite a lot of those here. So for some people might be still unclear, some kind of issues or numbers. So you said you made a profit of 83,000 purely on the sale, and that didn't include the profit that you made from the rent.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about how quickly were you able to rent the property out or the rooms out from the purchase date until, I'm not sure how it even went to it. Did you rent all rooms altogether in 1 week, or maybe you were how was that? What was the process? What was the time scale?
Right. So the way I do it, I usually start refurb from top, and I always make sure that one room on top is done, so I can show any potential tenant what they can expect in any other room. And then things like kitchen, these common areas, if they can be done to almost ready standard. And refurb took 3 months, and house was rented on a day, because I actually pre-booked all of appreciating the size and the quality, things that you cannot even see on a video, like proper acoustic and thermal insulation. People, they're looking for that. They've got enough of all of these slumlords just making things shiny, but obviously it's only wallpaper covering all sorts of problems. And if you are genuine and honest, and if you don't want to spend too much money on Rightmove, another expensive way of broadcasting your product, your property, then just do it to the right standard. For God's sake, just do it. Because I see so many projects nowadays just, done so cheaply, and people, they boasting the fact that they've managed to make it so cheap, and then they crying because they can't find tenants. I mean, for God's sake, do you think that tenants are idiots? Market nowadays is extremely competitive. You're getting less and less HMO tenants. If you're thinking that magnolia wall and white ceilings and crappy furniture from second hand, they're gonna, make your tenant happy. As I started this conversation, again, go to shrink. Take a pill.
In terms of joke, but it's also important to get realistic, and just as you said, the high quality should speak for itself, and people, and people who, and did you say that? I'm not sure we understood that. Did you say that people were ready to move in before you even finished your refurbishment?
Yes, there were pre-booking rooms, having, I have to say, quite good reputation here locally. It wasn't very challenging. They just heard from word of mouth from other people already booking room, saying, "Oh, I just found out that Eurolets, they're actually making another project. Have you got enough of your slumlord? Do you want to move to normal environment and enjoy staying at home instead of just running away from it?" Yeah.
So it's interesting that there's a way of finding the customer, not necessarily people who are on the street in the search of property, but there are people who are living somewhere already, but they're not happy with that place, and they would very happily to move somewhere and improve their lives.
That's always the case, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if it comes through internet or word of mouth. It doesn't matter. People, they move whenever they actually have to change something. Either it's a case of being not very happy with the current landlord. And the other thing is, if someone comes to you through Rightmove, etc., and you don't really know the existing landlord, if it's word of mouth, it's just a typical chit chat. Where do you live?
Yeah.
How much rent do you pay there? Who's your landlord? I'm just taking my mobile. I'm ringing the guy. I'm making sure he's not running around. He's not one of these 2 weeks tenant stars, because you're getting guys like that anywhere you go, just sleeping between different landlords for 2 or 3 weeks, not paying rent, only paying this original rent they require on day one. So yeah, I usually prefer to go by word of mouth than using any of these big websites.
Sure. And here comes a very important point of, you said before, to do the property to a high standard, because eventually, if you do it cheaply to the low standard, people will seek to move somewhere else, and you will not become competitive enough to keep your customers with you, which is actually what you want to have, is that the customers who trust you, and if they want to move, they move to another property that you own, not necessarily to the property of someone else's, right? So you keep the cash flowing to your pocket.
Yeah.
Very good. I don't see any questions in the chat yet so far. So I have another one and it's about the total purchase costs, because you said the deposit was £15,000 and there was 4 of you, and then there were also the refurbishment costs, which were 45,000, and the other costs. So the total cash you had to put into that property initially was over 61,000. If we divide it by 4, that's around 15,000 each. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is this amount, because that's quite a lot of money, £15,000 to put into the property, do you suggest that people have that cash saved, or can they achieve this sort of cash to be available by another way of like maybe borrowing or I'm not you smiling, but I'm not trying to say something stupid like rob the bank or but is this, how is it working? Because you use the finance, of course, of the Lloyds Bank, you said. And
Yeah.
how does that work? Do you actually have to have that cash in your bank of like, I've got 15,000, here are my partners, we all together have got 60, and here is it makes sense to purchase that property.
No, I just had to sell my kidney.
I hope that's another joke.
Um, just making things very serious. I am not a big fan of people using so-called double finance, using any, I don't know, borrowing on borrowing, because already mortgage is a borrowing. It's quite risky, especially if you are starting your journey as an investor. I would never recommend to do anything like that. You just have to save that money. Whenever you are a bit more experienced, then you can do it other way. You can use crowdfunding. You can go to some other tier 4 lenders to actually get the money required for the project. But it's always more risky. Obviously, some people saying that it's always better to work with someone else's cash. And how does that correspond to recent problems with the banks? Because what are the biggest problems working on someone else's cash? The banks. And I want to end up like most of these big banks in 2008. So this is why I prefer to work on my own income. But if you feel it comfortable, and you're getting comfort by doing that way, I don't mind. It's really up to you. I personally prefer to earn and then spend.
Thank you for this comment. I've got the question from Monica. She says, have you noticed there is less demand for rooms in your area and it takes longer to rent them out recently due to Brexit, oversupply due to S24, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that, Monica. Brexit, it's a big concern for all of the landlords. The other big concern is new legislation from April 2017, which basically requires from all of the landlords having 5 people, doesn't matter whether it's 1 story, 2 stories, 3 or 100 stories. If you've got 5 people, then it's subject to licensing. And that law will be enforced in October 2017, so it's soon. And it's not like with A4 amendment where you could get a dim consent. This comes from government, and laws from government, they actually go backwards. So let's say now you've got 50 properties, 2 stories, small HMOs. Each of them gonna cost you 500 quid. That would be the average cost of licensing it, and you're gonna have 6 months from October this year to do so. So it's not only about finding tenants; it's also about making sure you're doing things right. And things like nowadays, you're getting a ticket if your house doesn't comply with HMO regs. It's a fine, and you've got 28 days to appeal, and you can end up with CCJs on your credit score, and that's the last thing you want to see on your credit score. So I think current government, they harmed us, and this is the harshest anti-landlord government ever. and I'm hoping something's gonna change. But also, I'm so pleased that I am still doing well, because I will never expect to have a stable income from all of my rooms and have very good rate when it comes to occupancy rate in this time of a year, especially considering all of these concerns that you've listed in your comments. So many thanks for your question. And yeah, I agree on that. Current times are harsher. And this is why I strongly recommend to all of the landlords and investors to start educating, to start learning, to start making sure you actually know what you're dealing with. Because if you're going to end up with 50K fine, then probably it's going to be, that phase will be the next phase you're going to see buying properties of you.
Monica's saying, same here in West Yorkshire, takes longer to rent out rooms comparing to the last year. So she's sharing that. Thank you, Monica, for that question. Final question from me, Piotr, is that you did it with the 3 other partners as a joint venture.
Yeah.
Is there any advantages in that comparing to if you did it on your own, with your own cash, you did it on your own? Is there an advantage or disadvantage to do it with the partners?
If that was the only thing I was doing in my life on that time, then obviously that was disadvantage, because I limited my income by joining with 3 other parties. But I had my other businesses. In those days, flipping properties, it was like a bonus, like a cherry on cake. So if you can share duties between 4 parties, it's good. The other advantage was the fact that 2 partners in this JV, they were extremely experienced investors. One of them, he had about 45 years of experience, in that time, and he used to be also chief exec for Northern Region of one of the biggest banks for a long time. Obviously retired when he was doing this project with us. So that eases us to generate very good links, connections with bankers. We had several options on the table. That was, Lloyd's Commercial, that wasn't the only option we had. So using experienced guys, working with experienced people, that was always very beneficial for me. So I'm hoping this is the answer to your question.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So you could do it yourself if you have enough experience and you feel confident, but at the same time you can limit your income from it, your profits, but at the same time you have the people who have their experience, have their baggage of their experiences that they can use, so the investment, if there any problem arises, they can help you solve it. So it's a very important tip for people who are investing and thinking of, I'm going to invest myself without any support. Of course, if you only have people with the cash but without experience, that probably is a better idea to just go on your own. But if you find the people who have experience, have done that before in the past, and they've got the credibility, then it's probably a good idea to also get them on board and do something like this. So very interesting. We would talk probably for hours, but already over 10 minutes with this live. We would like to finish now. Piotr, I understand, and I work with you on this project. You help people who are investors or want to be investors but have the cash ready. What are the requirements to work with you and do a similar projects so people can make money out of their money? What kind of people or what kind of conditions you want to see, or what kind of people you want to help this way?
Well, straight, honest, and those with open ears. Whenever I talk to specialists or experienced people in my field or local expert, even though I've got general knowledge and very deep knowledge when it comes to my region, I always looking for this type of people. If that's the case of finding someone who's going to source your property and that's it, I'm not the person. If you just want me to basically help you with 1 or 2 stages in the whole process, I'm not the person. If you're looking for someone that can give you a comfort and make sure each single stage from buying to selling or refinancing property is done at least to average satisfactory level, the person. And yeah.
Okay, so sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you consider yourself to be ready and if you're willing to find out how the work with Piotr Zawalik looks like, you can contact with us in English over here. Just send a message using this button on Facebook, facebook.com/Zafhol. I need to spell it in English.
ZW-HLL.
Yeah, that's right. You can see that here. We've got the website, which is in Polish now. We're translating that in English, so you'll be able to contact from them. But from there, but for now, just use this button, send message, and contact with us. We'll be in touch with you shortly, and then we can talk about how we can help each other out.
Perfect.
Piotr, thank you very much.
And see you next time, yeah? Cheers, Greg. Thank you.
That's right. Thanks very much.